If you are someone who couldn't wait to see what happens next, you are in the right place because I'm going to be talking about what they might include in Season 2 based on the manhwa. Season 1 was different, funny, and lighthearted, but I just know Season 2 is going to be dark, emotional, and a complete roller coaster ride.
誰だお前は。
In Season 2, we'd surely see what exactly happened to Claude, how Athy would save him, who this mysterious man, Anastasious, truly is. We'll also find out what Lucas wants with that tree, and finally, we'd see how the ending goes. Firstly, we are driving straight into the Amnesia Arc, picking up right from chapter 46. Reading this in the manhwa was honestly heartbreaking, and thinking about how it's going to be animated, it's clearly going to be a total nightmare for Athy. Here she was, so overwhelmed by the sudden change that she actually collapsed. Soon they'd get to know that he is suffering from amnesia, but Claude himself would not believe it, even after he saw the official papers from 9 years ago. Poor Felix tried his best to jog his memory, constantly reminding him that Athy was his beloved daughter, but he just wouldn't listen. While all this was happening, Athy would try her best to stay positive by reading letters from Jennette, who would be the only friend checking on her well-being. Also, one of the saddest moments in the manhwa happened when Claude discovered the drawings Athy had gifted him throughout her childhood, still stuck to his room wall. Though looking at it, he would not feel an ounce of love. Instead, he would just feel sick. He dreams of Diana and remembers her, but every time he thinks of Athy, his head begins to hurt with a sharp stabbing pain because of the curse he had placed on himself long ago. Hopefully, they would add the birthday banquet scene, which would surely have some type of action in the animation. For me, this was the most shocking moment. So Claude was sleep deprived and suffering from constant headaches, but he attended the banquet for his birthday. The noble asked about the princess while she was waiting alone at the Emerald Palace, thinking she wasn't invited, but suddenly imperial knights arrived to escort her. However, when she arrived, she was asked to kneel before Claude in front of every noble in the empire. Then he disowned her. When the guards were ordered to take her away, she didn't break down and cry. Instead, she used her magic to ward them off and walked out with grace, but not before wishing him a happy birthday one last time. It was only after she was away from the crowd that the tears finally fell, and in that moment of vulnerability, Ezekiel was the one who stayed by her side. However, the heartbreak would only get worse, as after a few days, Claude literally tried to kill her, as he attempted to shatter the protection spell he had placed on her years ago. Athy reached her breaking point. Refusing to die at the hands of her own father, she used her magic to teleport away. As for Lucas, we saw that he went out to get the fruit from the world tree. When the tree refused to give it to him, he attacked it and took a branch instead. This caused natural disasters to happen all across the land. Back to Athanasia, we will likely see how she learns to live as a runaway. Eventually, she would sneak into the Alpheus house to see Jennette. After that, they went to the market and walked around for a while. There, she saw a man who looked exactly like Claude. In Season 1, she has seen him before and already suspects him. Still, you might wonder, who is this man? Well, he is Claude's older brother and the previous emperor. Everyone thought Claude had killed him years ago, but he's back and he will likely be the villain for this next season. And here is an even bigger spoiler. He is actually Jennette's father.
失礼ですが。
This means Athanasia and Jennette are cousins, not sisters. Jennette's mother was a woman named Penelope. Before Claude met Diana, she was his fiancée, but she left him for Anastasious. Both Penelope and Anastasious were bad people, but by a miracle, their daughter Jennette is like an angel. Even though she is kind, she was created using black magic. This is one of the reasons why she has the royal jeweled eyes, and her presence acts like a drug that numbs Claude's pain. Realizing this, he allowed her to visit the palace every day to have tea with him, just like Athy used to do before. She was so happy thinking she finally had a family. However, she didn't realize that he only kept her nearby because she made his headaches go away. In short, she is being used by everyone. When Lucas finally returned with a branch of the world tree and met Athy, she immediately asked him to save her father, who had lost consciousness by that time. Lucas, the most powerful wizard in the Empire, agreed to help her, in exchange for only a kiss. But as soon as he saw him, he told her that her father hadn't just lost his memory, he was actually dying. Soon, rumors about his condition will spread across the Empire. We will likely see scenes where Athy finally takes control of the throne. And since the palace is in chaos, her uncle Anastasious and Roger Alpheus will arrive to try and seize power. So she will have to stand at the front and fight them to protect her kingdom. In the meantime, Claude's body will begin reverting to the state it was in years ago, when his curse was first active. And the only way to save him would be for Athy to use the dangerous power of the World Tree. Even though it is a huge risk, she will be willing to do anything to save him. That's when we'll see her entering Claude's subconscious, where she will watch his memories like a movie. In these memories, she also saw her mother, looking as beautiful as ever. Since these are mostly the scenes we have already seen in Season 1, it makes me wonder how she will use the World Tree branch to bring him back. Because the Donghua has shown her to be very powerful, they might have her use her own magic to wake him up. Either way, I know it'll be their bond of love that finally breaks the curse. When Claude finally wakes up, he will obviously apologize to her for hurting her so deeply. It's going to be a beautiful and heartwarming moment where they both cry and hug each other. But even then, the problem won't be solved yet, as Anastasious will have already moved into the palace with Jennette. Now, I am not sure how they will end Season 2 or if they plan to give us a Season 3 later, but this is how the manhwa ended this part of the story. We saw that the story's true villain wasn't Claude's brother, but their ancestors from 200 years ago named Eternitas. His backstory was that when he was a child, he had met Lucas, but back then Lucas was cold to him. He told him he was weak and had dull eyes, which hurt his feelings. He held a grudge and became obsessed with living forever and proving he was the strongest. In the final chapters, Lucas finally confronted this ancient ghost. Since he had changed and wasn't just a cold wizard anymore, he tried to talk to Eternitas and convinced him to leave the body of Anastasious. But instead of leaving, he tried to jump into Athy's body because her magic was powerful. Thankfully, Claude was right there to protect his daughter. So Eternitas failed and entered Jennette instead. He tried to fill her mind with dark thoughts and sadness to take over her soul, but she was too pure and too strong for him. Athy quickly reached out and gave her a warm hug. That's how the dark magic lost its power and Eternitas was forced out. In the end, Lucas sealed him away, and the evil shadow was gone for good. After the battle, when Felix and the guards arrived, it gets confirmed to everyone that Claude was completely fine. He ordered them to take his brother to the prison, where his daughter Jennette visited him every day and begged Claude to spare her father's life. But he was sentenced to death, while Roger and Jennette were allowed to live. It seemed like a tragic ending, but in reality, Claude didn't actually kill his brother. The death sentence was just a show for the public. In secret, Claude allowed Anastasious and Jennette to go far away to live in peace. The most touching part was how the brothers finally made up in their own way. As the carriage was leaving, Jennette asked her father to wave at Claude and Athy, who were standing on the tower looking at them. Claude laughed, and Athy asked him to wave back at them. Because of their daughters, the two brothers finally found a way to stop fighting. As the kingdom found peace, the romance finally took center stage, and it became very clear who the main lead is, especially after Lucas slowly realized his feelings and then tried very hard to impress her. He even planned a fancy date on a stunning boat with delicious food, though she could tell his behavior was strange and that he was trying to act like Ezekiel, a fairy tale prince from a book, just to make her happy. This scene was super sweet because we knew Lucas is usually sarcastic and blunt. However, soon he goes back to being himself. Athy started to think deeply about the feelings both he and Ezekiel held for her. She even tried to ask Claude for advice, but like always, he acted like a protective dad and refused to even listen to her, saying she is just a child who is too young. Eventually, she went to Lucas to ask why he liked her. He explained that he usually hated nobles, but she is his only exception, and confessed that she is the only person he ever wanted to protect, his only friend. She shyly agreed to be conscious of him in the same way. Then they started planning their next trip. Meanwhile, Ezekiel received a letter from her. He knew he had lost the race for her heart. His father, Roger, watched him sadly, hoping his son wouldn't be too hurt. When the ceremony got closer, the moments between Claude and Athy became very emotional. He says that he's a little sad because she has grown up a lot, and one day she will find a partner, leaving him alone. Hearing this, she started crying, hugging him and saying that she doesn't need to get married, while these two stood there completely clueless. I think a lot of people who will watch this scene will end up shedding some tears, because like him, we also saw her growing up. The chapter ended with the most beautiful ceremony, drawn in the most beautiful way. A priest read out a speech, and Claude stepped down from his throne. Athanasia knelt before him as he placed a crown on her head, officially naming her the crown princess. Later, as they rode through the streets in a chariot, she saw two familiar faces. It was Anastasious and Jennette. She gave her a flower, showing her support, and then Lucas used his magic to teleport the two away to keep them safe. The story ended with the book titled The Lovely Princess being shut. The tragedy was over and a new happy history had begun. Now I would like to see this as the ending of the animation, but if they are changing the storyline a little, I would love if they give us happy ever after and somehow bring Diana back.
間に合ってよかったわ。
Or at least give Ezekiel an ending he deserves. Anyways, I can't wait to see these scenes animated because even though the animation have its flaws, I kinda like it. Now that we're done, I think it became more like a recap than what might be in season 2. Still, I hope you enjoyed it because that's it for this video. Thank you for listening to me. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change.